Hey everybody, Kevin Purcell with the Theotek podcast, and we are starting right on the hour, right at 9 o'clock today. Well, not exactly. We are 6 minutes late because there were some, I don't know, poltergeists in the Google system. But we got it going finally, and today we're welcoming a guest with us, someone who hasn't been with us before, Tuan Dam, and he is from the, now I didn't ask you how to pronounce your company's name. You just say it Cleanint?
Yeah, so it's like what your wife asks you to do, that you clean it. That's the easiest way to remember.
Okay. All right. Like that. Cleanint. And you're primarily a medical technology company, but you've also branched out into some accessories, one of which I'll tell you about in a little bit. And then we also got a couple of our regulars. Antoine hasn't joined us yet. We're not sure if he will, but Rick Mansfield is over there. I see him on my left, but you guys may see it differently. And then Wes Allen is with us as well. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Just a quick, right at the top here, we've got a couple of church technology news items. One of which is that I got an interesting email today this week from Logos Bible Software. I know we talk a lot about Logos, but they have a new tool that they have just announced and will be releasing soon called Logos Cloud. And when you read that title, it sounds like, hey, this is going to be all about Logos on the internet. But actually that's kind of a misnomer in my opinion. It's more about a subscription-based version of Logos, and you can, if you want to, use their online web app, which I showed off in an earlier Theotek extra, which I hope you'll go and take a look at on our YouTube channel. Just go to theotek.com to find the link to that. And basically it's, if you want to get into Logos with a huge library and you don't have it yet, then you can buy a huge library, and here are their subscription fees to do so. It's designed for new people who have not really already purchased Logos. And I think what their hope is, they've called it Logos Cloud as sort of an aspirational title. I think they're hoping that sometime next year it'll be full Logos 6 on the cloud. But now it's not. I'm currently using their web app, which I can just show you real quickly. I did already before, but if you notice here, this is the web app, and there's not a lot that works yet. So you check back soon. Guides, you've got a passage guide. Those of you who are familiar, oh, a new tool, Atlas. That's the first time I've seen that. So we'll open that up here and see what it looks like. Okay. Well, that's their Atlas online. That's brand new. That I didn't even know that was working yet. But you look at the passage guide, and you don't get much for it. So John 3:16. I know, Rick, that you're a Logos customer. Have you had a chance to see this, or have you at all subscribed to Logos Now or Logos Cloud?
No, I haven't had a chance to. When the web version first came out about a month and a half ago, I looked at it. I haven't gone back in to see. I would not be one who would be apt to be a customer for the cloud because I like to own my stuff. You know, I should say up front, I work for Accordance, so you can take my comments with whatever you want to there. But I don't know. We encourage, for instance, like students to start investing in a package early, and then you can continue to use that when you're a pastor. And I don't know. Whenever you lease a car, it's ultimately the car company that wins, not you. And so my concern would be the same thing. I guess if you're a student and you're having to take a class and you don't really want to, and it's a cheaper way, but the monthly payment, I did look at the monthly pricing, and the monthly pricing for Logos Cloud to me would be pretty close to just spreading your payments out as it is. So for me, I don't know what the advantage would be, but I guess perhaps some folks would like that.
Yeah, this pricing does seem the essentials, and again, we don't know what we'll get with these levels of pricing.
Right.
It seems like the Plus looks like maybe the bang for the buck. You get some Greek and Hebrew tools.
Yeah, but it doesn't give you it doesn't say that it gives you access to like the BHS or the NA28. So
None of it. We don't know what it'll give you access to, so we don't have a clue whether it'll be any of those. I went ahead. You can sign up.
Publishers will have to give permission.
Yeah, they did announce a few
publishers will
publishers.
have to give permission to have their books rented out like that, and I'm sure that some publishers will not want to do that.
Right. But we want to share it with you. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Tuan, have you ever used Logos Bible software?
I tried a long time ago. I'm a pretty simple Bible app. I have used Floridian for years, and their format worked in the days of, I think it was a Logitech PDA. I used it on there and liked it, and I still have it on my Android and my computer, so I use Floridian.
I still think if you're a Windows tablet user and you want a modern UI, they now call them Windows apps, that Floridian is the best modern UI Bible app that you can get. And unfortunately, that's because there isn't another good one. Now, you can run things like Accordance, their Windows version, and you can run BibleWorks Windows version, and you can run Word Search's Windows version on like the Surface. But if you have a limited amount of storage, Floridian's the best choice. Well, let's jump over here. The other thing that we've got, Pro Presenter just released a new version, Pro Presenter 6 for the Mac. I believe they had it on Windows side. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. I'm not real familiar with Pro Presenter. It's basically a worship presentation tool. You can see that you set it up where you get these slides, and you can put present lyrics or Bible verses and your sermon outline if you want. You can do video and images. If you remember, if you go back in our database of previous podcasts, you'll find one that we had Paul Allen Clifford, who's kind of a Pro Presenter guru, actually partners with them to do some training and that sort of thing. And so he's going to be coming back on in the next week or two and talking a little bit more about this. So at least we can get someone who knows more about what they're talking about than me. I'm a Media Shout user, but I'm looking at, this is the What's New section. I think that's what I've got loaded here. Let's just make sure. Yeah. So they've got some new editing tools, HTML5 support for web objects as a slide element. That's kind of an interesting thing. Bezier line tool. I guess you can draw. I don't really know what any of these things are. I haven't looked. This is really the first time I've looked at it. I did see this. It's got a telestrator. So if you want to talk about the football game during your sermon, that's kind of interesting.
Or for Super Bowl Sunday, you can provide your own comments.
Oh, my brain is just hurting.
Is it? Yes. We'll see. I don't know what the value in that is. Maybe Paul will tell us that there is actually a value.
Well, you can annotate maps, things like that. I mean, I do that with my Keynote thing every now and again, but...
Yeah, so anyway, they're just, these companies, they throw everything they can into these tools, and hoping that, if they add 100, I'm only going to like 3 of the new things, but the 3 that I like will make me upgrade. The 3 that you like are totally different, and it'll make you upgrade. So Planning Center enhancement, that's a Planning Center online is another tool. A stage display. Anyway, so, social media enhancements, that could be interesting. And we've talked about this. All of us, really aren't in this world that much. We have more simple needs for worship presentation software. I'm using Media Shout 6, which is probably overkill for what we really need in ours. But anyway, so we just wanted to hit at that at the top here and just share that with you, let you know.
Hey, Kevin,
Yeah.
real quick, we use Pro Presenter at our church, and so I don't know if I think I forwarded the email to our music minister because I'm on the Pro Presenter email list. But if I remember correctly, that email said that it had come out, the version 6 had come out first for Mac, and then the Windows version was coming out later. Is that correct?
I didn't look that closely at it, so I'm sorry to say I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
What's it selling for?
Oh, let's see here. Store. Let's go into the store and find out. Starting at $3.99. That's if you've not had a previous version. So that's in line. That's not overpriced for what it is. I know, Wes, you're looking at it and thinking, how ridiculous, why would you ever want that? But a lot of people have greater, more complex needs than
I mean, if I'm running a huge conference, yeah, but okay. I'll just smile and nod and walk away.
Yeah, I know you're not interested because you're using an open source version of what was it called? I don't even remember now.
OpenLP.
Yeah, OpenLP. That's right. And that's great if that's meeting your needs, and a lot of people can get something very cheap and free with that. And so if that's all you need, then that's wonderful. I don't think we need Media Shout, but we've got it, and so we're using it, and it's been. But
yeah, I mean,
I'm
looking at their website, and I'm just looking at like their slides of like the uses that they have it, and it's concert venues. I mean, that's what it is. It's for concert venues.
Well, but you know, a lot of these mega churches, that's what they do every Sunday morning.
Yeah, no, I don't have an interest, but that's okay. Yeah, all right.
Well, let's move on. I don't think that's anything real exciting for us today. We'll wait until we get the expert to talk about it when he comes in next week. But we want to move over now to you, Tuan, and tell us a little bit about your company and yourself. First of all, give us your background. Who are you? Where are you from?
Well, thanks for the invitation to join you all this morning. Pleasure to be here. So I am originally from Vietnam. Came over in 1976 as a result of the Vietnam War. And we don't have time this morning. I'll give you a brief synopsis. Basically, my brothers and I traveled from Vietnam. I was born in Da Nang and was one of those boat refugees that you hear about. And long story short of that part, my parents had to stay behind because my younger brother was sick. So it was really my brothers and myself. I was the youngest of 6 boys, 6 years old. The oldest was 14, traveling from one side of the world to the next. And within that story, there are many chapters that are quite amazing when you look back and see the events that transpired. So we ended up traveling from Da Nang down to Saigon, down to Phu Quoc, down to Guam. Eventually made it to San Diego and was there. Long story short of that, my father ended up having to leave my mom and younger brother sister, travel by himself. We were reunited, my father and my brothers, reunited in San Diego. And because of that, we were sharing our story. So while we were in Camp Pendleton, a missionary family, husband and wife, just came back from Japan and were embarking on another mission trip, but decided to postpone their mission trip to Canada and ended up driving down. I don't know if you guys are familiar with California, how far San Diego is from, let's say, Santa Clarita. It's about 2 hours. So every other day he would drive 2 hours in the morning, go and teach the Vietnamese people English using the Bible. And my father was very fascinated and wanted to learn more, and the church ended up sponsoring our family and a few other Vietnamese, and that was our journey of learning English. So before then, you could have said anything you wanted, I would not have had a clue, and we ended up learning English using the Bible, and quite amazing. My father,
how old were you at this time?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Kevin.
How old were you at this time?
6.5 years old.
Wow.
And literally came over from Vietnam with what I wore on my back.
Wow.
No food, water, no parents, and the journey in that one, like I said, I can share more with you. It will take several hours, but just the events that transpired, you could see God's hand and His purpose. It was quite amazing. But what I was going to say was my father ended up getting killed in a car accident coming home from work one day.
Huh.
And what happened then was the state would have normally taken 2 of the boys and put them in 2x2s and send them off to another families. And so this missionary family wanted to keep us together, and they ended up being our foster parents. Took all 6 boys in, which was quite amazing.
Wow.
It's quite a journey, and so there's a lot of detail how you see God's work. But the reason why we started what we started to answer your question in a long about way, is before my father was killed, he became a Christian, really loved Jesus, was baptized. He asked Brother Bixler, who was a missionary, when the war is over, would you come back to Vietnam with me and teach the people there the story of Jesus? Of course, Brother Bixler said yes. Shortly after that was when he was killed. I didn't know that that request was made by my father until about 8 or 9 years ago. And then that prompted me to do the same thing my father was not able to do. And because of that, I have run a tech company, software development consulting, for the last 25 years. And so, yeah, tech is our industry. We know it really well as a software developer, system architect, software tech. Yeah, it's a piece of cake for us. But we wanted to create something that allowed us to go back into Vietnam and reach the people there. And I don't know about you all, but the problem that we see a lot of times is when you come into a country that doesn't want the word of God spread, and you're going to say you're a missionary, they're not going to listen to you very easily. Case in point, when Brother Bixler called the Camp Pendleton and said, my name is Dean Bixler, and I want to go down to Camp Pendleton and teach the people the Word of God, his first response was, no, we have plenty of you all, so no thank you. Well, when he called back and said, I used to teach English as a second language, they said, well, when can you come? And so the same thing in business, when you come in with an offering of hiring local people, creating economy, and creating commerce, and the country readily accepts your willingness to go into their country and hire their own people. And that's what we've been able to do. So with Cleanint, and the word, we talked about it earlier, it's a play on words, it's clean international, but everybody has germs. It doesn't matter what race, religion, income, no matter who you are, you will be infected, you will pick up a flu, a cold, and so on. And so we felt that as a product company, we had a solution for the first audience. And what is the first product we created was the Clean Pen. And really the question that I ask you all is, how many times do you come or get out of the bathroom and you see, obviously, men do not wash their hands? And that's what happened here. I was at a restaurant with my youngest son, recognized that the guy who just came out of the bathroom probably did not wash his hands. In this tub of their so-called pens, there was only one pen. And I said to my son, Justin, what do you think the chances of this gentleman washing his hands? Not very good. If we're both going to use a pen, what can we do to make sure that the pen we're using is germ-free? And hence our first product was called Clean Pen. It's a pen holder, pen sanitizer. You mount it onto anything, keyboard, clipboard, monitor, counter. As a pen sits inside, it kills all the germs, and in between use, it's going to reduce the spread of infection. And that was our first product. And that's been used in schools. It's actually in a pilot program now. When you talk about countries, we're going to Cameroon, Tanzania, South Africa, we're in Nigeria, we're looking at distribution in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and so on and so forth. So it's quite amazing what we're able to do with that one product. And getting back to your original question, Kevin, it's about bringing the ability of coming into countries and saying, look, we need distribution, supply chain solutions, and we want to hire your local people to help us either put it together to save import-export fees, and that's what we want to do. So we've been able to do that in Vietnam. In fact, we have 3 factories in Vietnam hiring a lot of people that do the exact same thing for us. And I can't tell you the name of the churches, but Cleanint is involved with 2 underground churches over there, and it's been an amazing journey, and God has opened up a lot of doors in that regards. Cool. And then we talk about not only clean products, like the clean stethoscope, the Cleanint UV, which sanitizes remote controls. Hey, Rick, you're in a hotel, right?
I am in a hotel, yeah.
Okay, so the dirtiest thing in a hotel is the remote control.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've created products. I'm sorry?
I touched it.
Yes. Yeah, can you imagine a person who used that remote?
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. And so don't research what people find on remote controls. It's scary.
I need to go wash my hands.
What we have done is created products that sanitize and sterilize remote controls. So it's those types of products, and then we moved into tech. And this brings us to the Clean Stylus that Kevin was talking about earlier. I'm a gadget nut. I have all the accessories, gadgets you can think of. I have the Surface Pro 3. I've got the Pro 3. I've got the iPad. I've got the Nexus 7. So all those things that we talk about, you guys are talking about the technology side of it. I'm a user. And so I purchased the Surface Pro 3, loved it. Just the problem was there's no place to hold the stylus.
Mm-hmm.
Came up with a solution, and it's done really well. So we've been able to enjoy that part. And again, that product is an international product, and so we're able to get into other countries and other regions with that. So we've moved from healthcare to tech, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I apologize for taking so much time to explain that, but that's a general overview of who and what I am and what we started with Cleanint.
Yeah, no need to apologize at all. That's why I brought you here, is because I wanted to give you the platform to say to other Christians who also love tech, because that's why we're here. We call ourselves Theotek and want to talk about church and Bible tech, but we often find ourselves, lapsing into talking about things like the Apple Watch and the Surface Pro 3 and other things like that, just because they're fun to us. That's our avocation is looking at these things. So don't at all apologize for that. I think it's exciting. Rick, you sounded like you were getting ready to ask something.
Yeah, I was going to ask, and I think we may have actually already talked about this, but I don't remember. Does that stylus clip there, does that work on the Surface 3 as well?
It does. In fact,
you have a model for it, right?
I'm sorry?
You have a model specifically for it, right?
Yes. In fact, this is I'm going to show you a little bit of preview. This is the model for the Surface 3. So you can see at the back, it looks the same, but this clip right here that the 3 included is a problem. And then what Microsoft has done was put the switch up top, and so we fixed that also. In addition, look at the front. We've eliminated a lot of the space here, so it's much more minimalistic. And let me compare the two. So for those who are saying, hey, I want to see my surface as much as I can, we've taken it from, well, this is I have it on both. I have the N-Trig, but Kevin, I don't know if you can see that on your screen. There's a lot removed here, so you won't have as much plastic. It's still just as strong, so you're not going to drop your Surface or your Surface Pro 3.
Yeah, talk about how that stays connected.
So that process, when you will talk about R&D and design, the concept of the Clean Stylus was pretty easy. When I say easy, an idea is like a sailboat without any sails. It's really easy to come up with the ideas, but to make it and execute it, that's where the challenge is. And so for us, I said, well, wait, why don't we make a stylus holder? And the question then goes, well, how do we attach it to there? And then if the user wanted to reattach it, what's the best solution? And we played around with a lot of different materials, and we came up with a restickable. And that literally took us 3 months to find the perfect technology. And so you're allowed to take that, pull it off, and then you can remove it to the other side. Now, what I've done in my model, we're going to give the user, is you can use what we call a different type of adhesive. Again, you can still pull it off, but after 24 hours, it stays on very strong, very well. I don't know if that's a very strong is a good word, but then you can still pull it off. So it's a little bit of a combination of both of those technologies. And our idea was to allow people to move the clean solids from either the left side or the right side, depending on their preference. And it's a really good use of allowing people the flexibility. And we receive comments from that a lot from our customers.
Cool. That's and let me just from a user perspective, and full disclosure, he sent me a free version of it when I got my Surface Pro 3 as a review unit, and I used it very quickly. I mean, I don't know why I'm not being able to speak very well this morning, but I loved it and thought it was just a great tool. I recommended it on GottaBeMobile.com, and I think that you know, I put in the show notes or the show description of today that it's the best Surface accessory that I own, and that's because, you know, I don't consider this keyboard an accessory. I think that's an essential part of the tool. I don't consider the pen an accessory. It's an essential part of the tool. And so those three things, the tablet, the keyboard, and the pen, are all, you know, integrated. As far as other things, third-party accessories, I have two Surface Pro 3 pens, and the reason is I lost the first one because all I had was this stupid little loop that it came with, and if you snag it on something, that thing's going to get pulled off really easily. And by the way, it's incredibly easy to snag on it. And so this, you know, it's not coming off unless you just really pull it hard. Now, if you want to purposely take it off, it comes off fairly easy. You know, you just slide it out, and it's out. But it's not going to come off accidentally very easily, which means it's a great design. And so for $20, you know, that's how much it costs, right? $20 for both of the Surface Pro 3.
Right, $19.95, and we also have the same technology for the iPad. So that's actually where it started. And, I know I need to send this to you, Kevin. My apologies. The iPad looks like this, and same technology. You can put it in any corner. It still allows you to have access to your headphone ports. You slide it in and out.
Nice.
And we made this actually for the medical industry because I don't want to scare you with talk about germs, but the scariest place to be is in the hospital, and you really don't want to know their disinfection and what they clean or don't clean. One of our other products we make is called the Clean Stethoscope, and we were doing an interview on NPR Radio, and one of the doctors came on, joined our call, and said in 27 years of practice, he never once cleaned a stethoscope. And you think about how many people, how many patients a doctor touches underneath your shirt, all over your body, you're sweating and you're bleeding and so on, and then go from one patient to the next. And that's one reason why our infection hospital rates are so bad. It's because of issues like that. So really it's about trying to keep people healthy and allowing them to lead healthy lives. It's a lot of fun to see the reactions like yourself, Kevin, when you see a solution to something that we consider should be simple and elegant. With your feedback like that, that's what makes us happy to see people prevent people from losing their stylus. Because I did the same thing. I left it on a plane. So, and I said, enough of that. We're gonna create a solution.
Well,
the crazy thing is, I found mine on the roof, on the floor of my wife's car. It somehow must have gotten snagged, and so I actually have two because I had to buy one. Because if if you have a Surface without a pen, you really, it's like 2/3 of the experience of the Surface Pro 3. And so I went ahead and bought another stylus, and they're $50, And so for $20, you can save yourself $50 down the road. And I like it so much. I don't have any doubt that because I work for Gotta Be Mobile, that Tuan would send me a free copy of this Surface 3 stylus. But Tuan, don't send it to me. I just bought one. And my reason for that is I've heard your mission and what you're trying to do, and I wanted to support you. And so that's why instead of asking you to send me a free copy that I can put on my list. I went ahead and bought one. And I don't want to turn this into a big commercial for your company, except that it excites me when I see you're not a full-time, ordained minister that I know of. Am I correct?
That's correct. Well, I will tell you, I apologize. We were fortunate and blessed to get educated, learn to speak English sometimes the correct way. I don't know about that. My wife reminds me, and my 4 kids, to remind me, Dad, you're from another country. What you just said didn't make sense. So, but it's really about learning the Word. And so went to Pepperdine University. Computer science, mathematics was my major, and I minored in religion. My goal really was to be a youth minister, and God had other callings for us, and we all have it. But the passion really, going back to what my father's goal was, his promise was, to really spread the word, and that's what we're all about. The other software company that I was involved with that we started, we still manage a little bit. God has blessed that. We do well. So the question is, do we really want to take something new? And if it's for the Lord, most definitely. And that's what we've done. And since then, we've been involved with Haiti. We've been involved with other countries that are just incredible in how God opens doors. It's exciting, to say the least.
Well, I was going to say, what I get excited about is when I learn about Christian brothers or sisters who are using their vocation, which is not a full-time ministry calling, but they see it as, hey, this is still my ministry, and that's exciting. I went to Commonwealth Theological Seminary and worked with Haddon Robinson, not to be a name dropper, but one of the things he said was we had one of our fellow students that was fired from his church. And he had been in business and management before that, and Haddon said to him, you know what, I'm not saying that this is God's calling in your life, but maybe it is. Because the man had to go back. This was in between our second year and our third year. We would go for 2 weeks every year to the school for our intensives, and then the rest of the time we would work independently. And in between the second and the third year, he came back and had to say, well, I'm no longer a pastor. And I haven't been for 6 months. I've been working back in the original field. And Haddon said to him, I'm not saying this is your calling. Maybe you will go back into the pastorate at some point. But what we need desperately is Christians who know how to communicate the gospel in the workforce, and Christians who know how to make disciples and to love people in the workforce. And he says, maybe that's God's calling you into the mission field of business. And it sounds to me like that's where you're at, is God has called you into the mission field of business.
Well, I think that I agree with. I would agree with that. Let me put it in a story. This literally happened. So I was in Vietnam looking at some manufacturing, looking at our factories, and visiting the church. And in the church, again, they worship in a house, and some of the people walk 5 miles by foot to go to church. And they're not complaining about the pews not being soft enough or the temperature not being just right or whatever else that we would normally complain about. They just wanted to go there to worship. But there was a young man there who just graduated from high school, did very well in his exams, but didn't have the money to go to college. And he came to know Christ through that home church. And I found out the story, and I told him that we would be happy to help him with his tuition. Because his goal is to get a degree, go back, and to teach the Word of God to that city. And I said it in jest. And I said, maybe one day you'll end up going to America to help teach us the Word, because we're going to be so apathetic and so complacent to continue to study the Word. And he seemed puzzled. But to see the excitement and to see the fire, again, the analogy of the Holy Spirit, in these people and their eyes and what they do to love the Lord, that's what's so inspiring, to see that. And so that's what drives us. And to see that over and over and over again, it's quite amazing. And you get a glimpse of how the early church grew the way it did. And people helping people.
Hey, Tuan, did you ever reconnect with your mom?
Yes, in 1986, my mom, younger brother, and younger sister came over, and we're reunited. I would tell you it was a difficult reuniting for me because the Bixlers, I call them mom and dad.
Yeah.
Mom wanted the normal relationship. It was very difficult.
Yeah.
But through it all, she is living comfortably in Southern California and doesn't need to worry about working, and she just enjoys life, and a wonderful lady. And for all that she's gone through, it's an incredible story, and maybe if we meet up for coffee, I'll share the details of those stories and how God, for example, sent a mercenary to help 6 little boys navigate the terrain of Vietnam, to know where to go and to not what to do to make it out alive. It's quite an amazing story.
Did you say a mercenary?
Yes, so this gentleman, we were traveling and we didn't know what to do. We didn't have any food. We lost all of our called paper, birth certificates and records and money, and he was hiding from the law. And so he said to my oldest brothers, he said, I'm going to be traveling with you. We're not going to say no because he's going to kill us. He had a cast on his left arm, which wasn't, he didn't really have a broken arm. He used it to break people's faces, and he carried an M16. And whenever we needed something, he knew where to go, steal, kill. One time we were really hungry for rice. He said, wait, came back 2 hours later with a bag of rice over his shoulder. We were exhausted from traveling, and so he yelled across to these 2 ladies who were arguing back and forth, and they said to him, who are you to tell us to be quiet? Took out his M16 and shot both of them dead without even thinking about it. You know, I've seen people get killed in ways that you wouldn't want to, even in war movies, but war is sad. And through it all, God still had a plan and a purpose for everybody.
That's an amazing story. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tuan, I need to have you up here in Philly sometime, and we'll sit down and have a very long chat, because I would love to hear your tale.
I'd be happy to do that. Again, it's just giving that to the Lord and seeing His fingerprint in each of those parts of the journey. You know, when you go through it, you don't see that, but when you step back and look away, and you see how God had His plan, and it gives you goosebumps to think about it. It really does.
Well, it gives a lot of insight into people. I mean, even some of the times when you're looking at stories in the Old Testament, I guess it was Jehu who is selected by God to avenge the Lord, and he goes way overboard. And you know, it's hard to understand until you see a modern analogy. And here you have this mercenary who's been so dehumanized by everything he's gone through and everything that he's done, and he's trying to save these little kids, but he's so messed up that the way that he does it, you know, he's inflicting evil by doing good, and yet you're still the end result. It's amazing.
It is, and unfortunately, that gentleman was executed. The military police found him and took him away, and we knew that he was killed. So it's a sad situation for him, but through the evil of what we call evil, God allowed him to have a purpose, something good. We couldn't see it then. We can definitely see it now.
Yeah.
Rick, you have anything you wanted to ask him? We've been sort of dominating the conversation.
Well, I know my connection's not that good too. I'll have something better next week. But no, I'm overwhelmed by the story. And Tuan, I think you're definitely doing the Lord's work in a very modern way that has ancient connections. Because you're the tent maker. You know, spreading the good news through these other venues. And you know, my hat's off to you, and we'll continue to pray for you and the ministry that you're performing.
Well, I'll tell you what, like, when we talk about, and if you look at the website, you'll see our advisory board members on there. Those people who are part of that, it's an amazing, my answer to a lot of people is how does it get done? And the answer is God opens doors that I can't even see.
Right.
Let alone see what I need to go through, but he continues to open those doors that I don't even know exist. And each day we're amazed at what he does. And it's a fun journey, and the problem we have, and I'll be honest, as a certain personality to start a business and run it, is you want to get in the front, you want to lead, but as my wife reminds me, who's really leading the company? Tuan, it's not you, so take a second seat and let God lead. And that's, everybody, business is always straight up. It's never straight up. There's days of trials and tribulations. You're sitting there going, did I make the right decision? What do we do now? You step back and even see God's hand and saying, no, this is what we're going to do. Just trust me. Be patient. It's my time, not yours.
Tuan, can I make two requests? One is light and the other one is serious. The first is, how do you get a hold, I just looking at your website, that Clean UV, that I guess that's your remote control cleaner for the hotels, because my wife is a teacher, and I'm looking at that going, holy crow, God did something amazing, because a classroom in an elementary school is a petri dish, and the stuff that goes through there is amazing. And let me get my secondary question first. While you're doing all these things to hang things on, I'm making a request on behalf of Rick. Can you create something that keeps watches on people's wrists? Because Rick has an iWatch, and he's terrified he's going to leave it at a hotel sometime, or a restaurant. So if you could work on that, that would be great. Well, let's go to the serious one.
Rick, why don't you buy an iBeacon and stick it on your watch?
Oh, there you go.
Maybe that's what I need to do. Yeah. I can put it on the band right over here.
Yeah. And make sure it doesn't cover your tattoo that you have on your wrist.
Yes.
Otherwise,
my tattoo is on my ankle, so I'm okay.
All right, so how do we get a hold of those Clean UVs, and how much do they go for? Then, Kevin, that's something to really look at. It's really cool.
Well, let me answer the first question with your wife as a school teacher. So we did a study a couple of years ago, and again, I was giving a talk at this event, and the school principal came up. And again, we didn't think of the clean pen, for example, being used in education. But he came up and said, hey, I need these clean pens in all of my classrooms in my assignment areas. And so we said, we'd love to do it for you. So he put it in, and I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago was the worst flu season in 10 years.
Oh, yes.
Well, that school was the only school that had their average daily attendance go up. All the other schools went down. And he swears that the Cleanint program solution was the effect. Each of the kids would use a clean pen in the classroom before they went to use the bathroom. When they came back, they signed back in using the clean pen. So it's a combination of product or solution. So we would put the clean pen and the Cleanint UV along with the clean stethoscope for the school nurses. So we were able to do that, and I'll be happy. Send me an email, and we'll get your wife some samples, and she can give it a try at her school.
I'd be grateful, because I'm sick of getting sick.
I can't solve the iBeacon for the watch, but put the big iBeacon and become one of those gangsters. And,
yeah, I can just let it hang from it. That would work.
Yes, and you can make it sort of like a
bling. He's got bling.
Yeah. There you go.
Did you see that 49 germs per square inch on your toilet, and 2,400
hopefully they're my germs
per square inch on your pen? Ugh.
And part of that is we need some exposure to that stuff so that we keep our tolerance up. But if you can get rid of the flu season insanity, to where like the stomach bug that goes rips through classrooms, I mean, that would be, you have no idea. And actually it's cool because the clean pen wasn't working on my iPad. I'm looking at it on your screen now, Kev. I mean, that thing's cool. You just literally you just push it through, Tuan, and it goes right through.
Yeah, it's a pen holder, so it does multiple things. You don't need to have a pen holder anymore. It's the pen holder, and as people come in, they just slide it out in either direction, and it kills all the germs.
And how long, like, do you have to do a replacement in it or anything? Is there a charge that, something you need to refresh it?
So inside the device, there's a sponge that's pre-soaked with our solution.
Okay.
And it'll last for 3 to 4 weeks, and at the end of that period of time, you can rehydrate it with our bottle, which will last you about 6 months, and the bottle's like $8, and you just simply rehydrate. So what the school does is they'll get on the intercom and say, okay, kids, and the kids love this, today is the day that we replace our sponges from the clean pen. So they want to be the one to get picked, and
it's the chalkboard eraser. I love it. It's like for the 21st century. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we have it for the credit card terminals.
Uh-huh.
And we have it for we have some really cool products. We have a new product for the cell phone. You know what? I'll get you guys a pre-release product of our new product called Clean Edge. It's for your phone, for in your car.
Oh, cool.
Nobody does this, and we're excited about that too.
Do you have anything for screen cleaning? Because the screens are nasty.
We haven't had that issue yet, but if it's a big problem, I'm sure we can come up with something.
Okay. Because I'm even like when people are like on a Square terminal, I have to sign the screen. I'm just looking at that going, well, that's disgusting. And I don't normally think of stuff like that, but that's kind of gross.
Yeah, you really don't want to go down that bunny hole and find out how dirty the world is. You really don't.
Ignorance is bliss. I haven't died yet, and I'm happy with that. That's good.
So I don't want to take this as advertisement, but let me show you. I'll send you this also. This is called the Clean Hands. And we actually signed a contract with the largest EMS first responder in the world.
Oh, wow.
American Medical Response. And so what this does is they wear this on their belt. And so no matter what they do, is they have access to hand sanitizer before they come in contact with the patient.
Oh, sweet.
And so this goes on their belt, and no matter what, they will have clean hands. And this is one of our products. We have law enforcement, we have doctors, we have everybody using. This is one of our popular ones, and it's coming out to the retail markets in about a couple months. So I'll send you guys a care package.
I'm laughing because it's a pocket flask of hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
That's just awesome. I mean, it's great. I love it.
Yeah. Gives whole new meaning to taking a shot in the middle of the.
There you go. Yeah. But the seriousness of all of this does nothing but really affirm that. And I wish I could say the credit goes to Tuan's ability to come up with these ideas. That's the furthest thing from the truth. The reality is that these ideas, I believe, are Holy Spirit driven, and that He is the one that allows us to come up with these concepts and put things together. And all the credit and the honor needs to be given to the Maker, because unless you guys are different from me, I did not have a place in line to pick out my personality or pick out my looks or pick out my brain. And God is the one who gave us all of those characteristics and traits. And so because of that, that all needs to be given back to the Lord. For He is the maker of everything.
Well said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yet,
wholehearted amen.
Yeah, but but at the same time, we do respect you because you've committed to using those things well.
Yes.
I think that is worthy of recognition, even while I
you.
everything with that.
And the name of the company, we said it earlier. How many times do you say the word, did you clean it? Did you clean it? And that we want it to be a synonymous of a brand that you remember with a word that you use frequently during the day.
Cool.
And Clean International. It's for the Lord.
Well, guys, we're coming up on our hour limit, and I just, again, I think now you understand why I wanted to have Tuan on. I didn't know, I just had the tip of the iceberg of what he was doing, and after this, I'm even more thankful that we invited you to come on the program today, Tuan. And, I just, your model of what you're doing is what I wish that the church could teach all businessmen, all career people, everyone out in the public square of life, because you can reach people that I, as a pastor, won't ever, have the opportunity to, because part of it is because I'm just not there. I'm not in, I won't be going to Vietnam to set up factories to organize my life as a minister, but you will, and I'm thankful. And second of all, the church is waning. It seems like you mentioned the apathy that we have, but I think if people would take a new look at what their life is and see themselves, like you said, a missional. What was the phrase you used? Missional business or something?
Missional business.
Yeah, and if you don't know what missional means, it just basically means being a missionary. And so I'm excited about that. And I hope your company becomes one of the greatest companies in the history of America. I hope that we're 20 years from now we're all talking about you get a Kleenex and you get a Cleanint, and it's used that way. And because I know who runs it and I know what you're doing, and so anything we can ever do to support you and help you, I'm just thankful. I get all these PR from people who contact me, want me to review their stuff or put it in a post on GottaBeMobile.com and that kind of thing. And I got to be honest with you, I get a little jaded about it, and I say, yeah, let me know, see what it is. And thankfully, he just happened to contact me at about the time that I was working on a post for a Surface Pro 3 article. Otherwise, to be honest with you, I probably would have just kind of, we'll see, I don't know, or half of them I don't even respond to because I get 300 emails a day from companies wanting me to review whatever. But I'm thankful that he brought us together in this way.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate you saying that. And again, that's an example of what I said earlier. Is there's a lot of coincidences there, and we could say it's coincidence, but I believe that you were touched by the Holy Spirit to say, hey, I'm going to open up this email and see where it leads. And God is the one that brought this together, even for what we're doing now.
Yeah, I agree. I define a coincidence as God manipulating circumstances to bring about His glory and our best. So I like coincidences.
That is.
All right, well, we're going to have to finish up here, and for those of you who are watching, we thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We hope that maybe you can share this. This time, I wanted you to share it not for our benefit or for Theotek, but mainly for the benefit of, number one, helping promote Cleanint because of what they do, but even more importantly than that, to give people the example of what Tuan is doing so that other business people, manufacturers, whatever, if you're a doctor, a school teacher, whatever it is, that you'll see your job as your mission field. And I hope that you'll share that and at least tell people about it so that they can see it. And I hope that if you're watching this, if you're not in full-time ministry, I hope you see that your life is the greatest opportunity that God may ever have in your sphere of influence to reach people for Jesus Christ. And I'm excited about that, and so please let people know about this podcast so that they can find out more about this example and be inspired to do the same. If you would, please, just on YouTube, hit, I don't know which side it is, over that way or over that way, there's a subscribe button. Hit that so you'll know when our next podcast comes out. Or if you want to listen to it, we'll make this available on audio through iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can go to Theotek.com to get the links for those. And this week I did a couple of Theotek extras. One was a video demonstration of the new features in Logos Now, and then the very next day they came out with this Logos Cloud. And then I also did an audio extra this week, something I've never done before. And so go check that out also. You can see those at Theotek.com or kevinpurcell.org is probably the better way to get to that audio one, and you'll find out more about it. But thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
See ya.